I'm Ruth Med, the Executive Chair of Women on Boards, and this is my two-weekly vacancy review of interesting thing on the WOB Jobs Board, and this is for the week of the 21st of November 2022. Some of the vacancies that I'm going to talk about have got a fairly short time frame on them, so beware, and we always recommend that you apply before the closing date. Just gives you a bit of room to maneuver, and you don't run up against problems if the board decides to change the closing date, because they've got lots of applicants, which they can do in many circumstances. So today, my theme for the week of the 21st of November is sport in all its forms. It's certainly the sporting season. There's so many events on that you're hard pressed to select what you'd like to have a look at or attend. So I thought, in view of hopefully summer coming, we'll look at some government sporting type boards. So first up, I've got some government board vacancies. Now, that might sound odd, but the government is a big player in sport. And I've got 28620, which is the Victorian sporting entities. These are nicely paid roles, close on the 27th of November. And it's all about the management and regulation of Melbourne's key sports facilities. A challenge for many of these organisations because they're large, complex, and often have infrastructure that needs a bit of repair and maintenance on them. So in this case, I think there's 7 bodies from the Cardinia Park Stadium Trust in Victoria, Melbourne and Olympic Parks Trust, Melbourne Cricket Ground, Professional Boxing and Combat Sports, State Sports Centre, Victorian Institute of Sport. So that's a pretty wide selection of entities. And they're looking for, generally speaking, business acumen, understanding of governance, and clearly an appreciation of sport. A lot of these boards get a bit parochial, and they need to, in fact, interact with government, but they also need to pay attention to good governance. So that's 28620, Victorian sporting entities. Now, in company with this, we have 28608, which is Venues New South Wales, which is a very similar organisation. Now, this closed on the 20th of November, so you've probably missed the boat with this one, but I thought I'd mention it because it's interesting to understand that these entities do exist. And the objective of Venues New South Wales is to ensure New South Wales is Australia's #1 destination for sport and live entertainment, which does in fact conflict a little bit with the previous one, which was the Victorian sporting entities. They're looking for commerce and economic stakeholder engagement, governance and strategy. And there's about 5 or 6 venues there as well. Third up, 28571, the Australian Turf Club. It's paid again, closes on the 25th of November. Now, this is not a board that's got a lot of interest in it from the fact that I send out a snap email to the people who apparently match the selection criteria, and relatively few of you clicked on the vacancy, so perhaps you don't like horses, sort of thing. It's also quite difficult to get a directorship of the Australian Turf Club. It to date has usually been fairly closely held. But what do? They are the thoroughbred racing club that conducts about 110 race meetings per year across New South Wales. So quite interesting, lots of issues about animal welfare as well as running effective racing meetings, just think about it. And they're looking for business operations, commerce and economics, finance, law and marketing. So think about this one again. If you passed it by when you got your snap email, just perhaps go and have a look. So that's 3 government entities. Now, other categories of sports. I've got some quite oddballs here, I might say. I shouldn't say that too loudly. 28594, the Darebin Women's Sports Club. This is one of these entities that probably most of us have never heard of, based in Victoria. Closes on the 25th of November, offering expensives. And this sports club styles itself as the Darebin Falcons. And it's a pioneering girls and women's sporting club. So how about that? And they're looking for a whole range of skills: communications, company secretarials, business development and fundraising. So they're looking for a number of people to flesh out their board capabilities by the sounds of things. 28552, Netball Queensland. This offers expenses, closes on the 25th of November, and they're looking once again for business acumen, communications, sport, strategic planning and strategy. So that's 28552. Next up, 28533, the Queensland Rifle Association. This is an unpaid role, and you've got till January 2023 to have a look at this one. And their vision is to be recognised for providing the most professional, safe and inclusive target shooting experience for everybody. So I think that's probably clay pigeon shooting, but I'm not absolutely sure. And they're looking for communications, stakeholder engagement, finance, governance and market research, the usual collection of a broad range of skills. And finally, 28642 closes on the 30th of November, Wiley's Baths in New South Wales. Now, have you ever heard of these? Perhaps you have. Wiley's Baths are a heritage listed tidal swimming pool located near Coogee Beach. How about that? And they're looking for accounting, audit, budgeting, financial counselling and tax. So they're really looking for someone who can probably be the treasurer. So what a collection of sporting organisations, and it just goes to show the great variety of things that are on offer. Now, they're not all paid, some of them are. We don't all look for paid roles necessarily, but they're all about sport. And if you, like me, is a sports lover, perhaps there's something that you might want to consider putting your hand up for. And Ruth's tip for today, I've repeated this tip previously, but you know, it's absolutely becoming more and more important to have a decent LinkedIn profile, and to mention that you're interested in boards somehow in your summary, and to keep your LinkedIn profile up to date. Really, really important. So hopefully the holiday season is coming fast upon us, the time for sport and sun and surf. And so think about a sports board. So signing off for now, I'll be back in a couple of weeks.